me set the image straight. So today we're talking about relationships. Here I have the connectionship chart. Okay, I hope you see that. Let me try to enlarge it a little bit more. Okay, here we go. This is so sensitive to movement. And we're gonna talk about relationships. Just let me put this chart straight. Okay, I think I got it now. How do we connect with the other? Basically, to understand how we connect with the other, we need to first understand ourselves, understand who we are, and then it's much easier to understand how we relate, how we connect to the other. And it makes us more aware of who we are, makes us more aware of how we connect in our relationships as well. Hi everybody, nice to see you joining. Follow me, give some loving, give some hearts. Okay, so if we look at ourselves and we look at our definition, which is the colored centers, the colored channels, the colored gates, we see what we bring out into the world, what is our impact, and how we influence others. And if we look at our whiteness, so the white centers, the white channels and gates, we see the windows through which the other penetrates us. It is where we meet the other. It is where we meet the world, where we meet conditioning forces from the planet, from life, like animals, even plants, although plants we have to touch. But everything conditions us and influences us in our openness, which doesn't necessarily mean it's negative conditioning. If we're following our strategy and authority, we are on our geometry, we're on our path, we meet people from our fractal line. And then we meet conditioning, which is good for us. It's positive conditioning. And when we are not following our strategy and authority, we're out of line, not in our geometry, and then we meet more negative conditioning. But we have to understand that where we're defined, which is our life force, or in the case of the projector, which is their frequency, because they have only gates, they don't have channels. We also have to understand that this is what makes us different and unique. There is no one like us in the world. There has never been, and there will never be. Each gate has 1080 combinations, and after the line, so the line is the gate are the numbers, and then each gate after it has a dot and a number, and that's called a line. There are 6 lines, there are 6 colors, 6 tones, and 5 bases. So if you multiply that, it will give you 1080 combinations of each gate. And we have 13 gates on each side, so 26 different gates in case they're all different, they can be the same with some other gates. But this is what differentiates us. This is what makes us super different from the other. And yet, it's a place where we get limited. We get limited by our perspective because we have only one of these 1080 combinations. So it limits us to this perspective from those 1080 combinations. Our definition is also limiting, but where we're open, where we're white, undefined, this is where we take in the other, and each gate has, again, 1080 combinations. So where we're open, we have the possibility to get 1080 different perspectives of that same gate. So this is where we learn. This is where we become wise eventually, in our openness, in our whiteness. We can say that our definition is the student which studies in the school of life, which is our openness, and there we can become wise. So in relationships, this is where we connect with the other and we have the possibility to experience them in our whiteness. So the whiteness, we can call it receptors. It's our receptors where we perceive the other. And what we like or we don't like in the other is usually what we like in their definition or in how they basically influence us. So if we look at relationships, it's about the genetic imperative. It's about who we are and it's about who the other is. And if we ask a scientist what love is, he will reply to us that it is chemistry. And it is. Actually, 90% of communication is based on nonverbal signs like the tone of your voice, the facial expressions, chemistry, and only 10% are words. As Ra Uru Hu, the founder of the Human Design System, says, let the aura do the talking. We don't even have to talk when we're in the vicinity of somebody else's aura. We are just influencing each other. They influence us, we influence them. And what is the vicinity of the aura? When we spread our arms length, and 2 arms length is basically the diameter of our aura, which is about 3 meters in diameter in all directions. It's like we're in a sphere of our energy field, our aura, and it goes through everything, through walls, through everything. So even if we're in one room and there is somebody else in the next room and we're next to the wall, we will be influencing each other because aura goes through the wall. And this is what scientists say. But if we ask a romantic what love is, they will tell us it's the yearning from which all great fables originate. If we ask a psychotherapist what love is, he will answer that there are different types of love because there are many different shades of feelings of love. There is the romantic love, there is parent-child love, there is all kinds of, there can be sexual attraction, which is not really love, but there are different shades of love. According to Human Design, love is how we connect with people. And this is what I'm going to go deeper in during this life. Our basic genetic imperative is to create more, to reproduce. That's why we say that opposites attract. When we see something different, the feeling is, I don't have it, I want it. That's what genes want. They want diversity. They want difference. And difference is not necessarily what makes relationships easy. Actually, the easiest relationships is with similarity. But similarity doesn't attract us because we have it. We want what we don't have. The genes want the difference. And basically, the different is something that we need to learn about, as I said. It's where we are in school in this life. So different types, for instance, projector, generator, or manifestor, generator, or projector, manifestor, or reflector, generator. These are differences. And we can be attracted to those differences. But that doesn't make it necessarily easy. Actually, it's a challenge. Difference is a challenge. And similarity is easy because we experience the same thing, or we resonate to same things, but it doesn't attract us. So if we are in the room with a person who has the design like we have, our design, they will not attract us. We will not notice them even at all. And but if we get to know each other in some way or another, we will see that actually it will be very easy for us to communicate with that person, to be with that person, because sameness is something easy. That's why in partnerships, in connection charts, if we have the same channel with somebody, they're called partnership channels. Those are connections with which it's easy to communicate. We can communicate without even words. We just feel what the other experiences, and it's easy. Actually, it's rarely that in our connections we meet somebody that has the same channel as ours, the partnership channel. And yeah, the more similar they are to us, the less we're attracted to them. But genes don't want to create the same thing. They want something new. That's why it's the difference. But what is love? According to human design, what Ara says is really beautiful. He says, if you allow someone to be who they are, and they allow you to be who you are, then that's love. Everything else is torture. And if you think about it, it's exactly that. The biggest form of love is actually loving ourselves, accepting who we are, with our shadows, with our gifts, with what we shine, and accepting as well our shadows and where our perceived weaknesses are. It's accepting the same coin. It's the two sides of the same coin. So accepting ourselves of who we are authentically is true love of ourselves. And only then we have space to actually love the other, to accept the other for who they are. And that's not always easy. It can be actually difficult. That's why people walk around hating themselves, because they are not authentic. They carry masks, the masks of conditioning, and conditioning starts already in the womb of our mother. She conditions us with, actually, they're called blueprint keys, which we can never change in us. It always stays, this conditioning. But after we're born in a family. And that family will give us their perspective of the world, their moral values, their belief system. And we take this purely. We don't have any so-called our own perspective. We don't have any idea of how things should be. So we take it very straightforward. Like what we see is what we think it's normal. So if we come in a family where people don't treat each other well, let's say they shout at each other and they don't support each other, we will think that this is normal, that this is the way things should be. We just don't have any sift through which to watch and to compare things. So we take everything literal from our family. We're conditioned by them. And then comes the extended family. Then later we start going to kindergarten, to school, to university. So all that conditioning piles up. And sooner or later, if we don't connect to our true self, we start forgetting who we are, and we start perceiving ourselves as the world expects us to, and we take our cultural conditioning and sociological conditioning, even political conditioning, everything from society, we take it as we adopt it and we take it as our own. And this can distance us from who we truly are, from our authentic self. So returning to ourself, to our authenticity, is basically the recipe for authentic connectionships as well, for authentic relationships as well. Bringing our true self, our authentic self to the table, to meet the other, is actually the only way we can have authentic relationships. Otherwise, we're pretending to be somewhere we're not. They might be pretending that they're someone they're not. And what we get is a false connection, false relationship. But when we get together with somebody, even just in the aura, it doesn't have to be a relationship. We don't even have to know that person. But once we get into somebody's aura, we become a separate entity. We become a separate energetic frequency. And it's a synthesis which creates something new, something totally new. As you can see in the chart in the middle, that's actually the synthesis of the two charts. It's the connection of the two charts on the left and on the right put on top of each other. So the third thing that we see in the middle, this is like a third being. It's totally something different. It's both this and that, but it's neither this nor that. Together they create something completely new. And the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. It's not like 1 + 1 = 2. It's greater because it's synergy at work. It's synthesis. We bring our own shade of things and it makes something greater, something bigger. It's many layers of synthesis. So we have an individual and another individual, and then we have the partnership. And this is why when we meet someone, we perceive them in a very specific way through our cognition, through our senses. Like some people are more attuned to visuals, others are more attuned to acoustics, how things sound. Others can be more attuned to touch, how the other feels when you touch them, or how they smell. It can be very different how we perceive the world at large and how the other perceives the world at large. So when we're together and we're, for instance, on the same event, and when we go away from that event, one will have one concept of how things went and what were the things they noticed, and the other one will have their own perception. So we can be at the same event and it can look like we were at two totally different places because we perceive things in totally different ways. It's the same in the partnership. One is attuned to one set of things and the other person is attuned to another set of things. But moreover, how we experience the other is depending again on our definition and on our openness. So we have these gates, channels and centers, and for instance we have the gate on one side of the channel, they have the gate on the other side of the channel, and there we connect. It's called electromagnetic connection. So we perceive the other person very specifically, very uniquely, like no one else. And that other person is perceived by everyone else differently. So when we talk with somebody about a third person that we both know, we can be talking like we're talking about a different person, because we perceive one side of them and the other person perceives another side of them. But what we have to understand is we cannot change anybody. They are who they are. They have their own design. And as you can see on the charts above, you're born with that. From the moment you come into the world till the moment you perish, this is your design. This is your energy frequency. It doesn't change. So we cannot change the other. What we can do is condition them in their openness. And problems in relationships arise when we try to change the other, or when we don't enter correctly into relationships. But what does it mean to enter correctly? It means to follow your strategy and authority. So if you're a generator, it's about waiting for outside stimuli, not initiating, and waiting to respond or not to the other. Then people can ask, well, how do we meet the other if we don't initiate? Well, you respond. This means that when somebody, let's say, is in your aura, you can respond to them. You can meet each other's eyes. One gives a smile, the other responds with a smile, or just giving you some kind of a sign that they want to communicate with you. That's how things happen. Or we can get introduced by somebody. We can get an introduction on a party, on a gathering. And then this is stimulus coming from the outside. But it's about not initiating from your mind, like, I have to go to that party and meet this person and go to them and talk to them. No, it's about waiting for things to happen in their own pace, in their own geometry, so to say. And generators have all the time something to respond to. It doesn't have to be live. We can also respond to somebody online, or in dating apps or whatever. We just connect to people in different ways, and we can respond to them. So entering correctly for the generator is to respond, not initiate. If we talk about projectors, then the correct way to enter into relationships is through invitation, and it's official invitation. Like, I really see you, I recognize you, I would like to connect with you, I want to get into a relationship with you because I really see you, I really can recognize you. And if it's two projectors, they need to invite each other. So one invites the other, and then the other one invites back. And again, it's not about initiating, it's about reacting to the outside stimuli, waiting to be seen, waiting to be recognized. So if a projector comes to a party or to a place with other people, and they don't receive invitations, then this is not the correct place. It's the way the universe tells you, you're not recognized here. So move on, go to another place where invitations come, when the other really sees you, when they invite you. And then it's much easier. Also in relationships, for projector, it's essential that they get invitation to get into the relationship. If they initiate, it will not work. About manifestors, they're here the only ones, 10% of the people, almost, of the world, which are here to initiate. So it's correct for them to go and initiate somebody into the relationship. And imagine this can be quite difficult for women manifestors, because they're here to initiate the other, and the social conditioning is women should wait to be initiated by the men, by the guy. Same when we talk about projector men. They need to be invited. They cannot go and initiate with a woman. they need to be recognized and invited. And when they're correct, they will get those invitations from the woman. It doesn't have to be super direct, and that the woman is, if she's not a manifester, to go and manifest and initiate stuff. It's when you're together and you start to see the other for their gifts, you feel like you want to start that dance, and it's a beautiful dance between a projector and a recognized projector and a generator. And of course, the projector can ask questions, so the generator can respond. So when the generator invites the projector can ask back the generator if it's correct for them. So the generator can respond, can hear their truth. And if it's a reflector, the reflector needs to be initiated. And they need to wait at least one lunar cycle for 28.5 days until they have clarity about that relationship, whether they should enter into that relationship. So I get the question asked by reflectors, how about one-night stands? Well, one-night stands are not for the reflector. They need to gain clarity. And a lot like emotional beings, you need to give a chance to somebody, if you're emotional, at least to see them 2, 3, 4 times before you make up your mind about that person, so that you can experience them through the different parts of your emotional wave. When you're down and when things look ugly and not so nice, or and you have your gray glasses on, or when you're up on your wave and you have your pink glasses on and everything looks great and purple, pink, whatever, and you like everybody and they like you because you're in the high of your wave. You need to give it time. Time is your best friend if you're emotional. You wait to gain clarity, to see them from the different perspectives of your emotional wave. And this is how you can be clear whether a relationship is healthy for you or not. So the reflector, it's a lot like the emotional person, since the moon goes through the Rave Mandawa, the wheel, through every gate in the wheel for about 28.5 days, so one lunar month. They change. Their perspective changes. They get conditioned by the moon, by the different planets. They get different definitions. One day they can have generative energy, another day they can have projecting energy or manifesting energy. That doesn't change the type of the reflector. They stay reflector, but they are inconsistent. The only consistent thing in the reflector is that the moon goes through the same gates each and every month and makes the same connections with the gates of the reflector, which are dormant gates. So it wakes up a certain aspect of the reflector, and every month it's the same pattern. So that's the only consistency in the reflector, is that each month there will be the same pattern. But every day, every 12 hours, they're different. They feel different and they have different perspective. That's why they have to give it time before they enter into the relationship. They need to give themselves the possibility to taste and to perceive the other through their differences. So if you are asked, initiated to get into a relationship, and if you're a reflector, it's a good thing to write down the date, and each day look how your perspective changes. And at the end of the month, hopefully you will gain clarity whether you want to enter into that relationship or not. And if you don't have clarity, then give it another month, give it more time. Also, if you're a mental projector, you don't have inner authority, you have the authority of the surroundings, of what the other brings you, and you need soundboards. Same as the reflector, you need people to act like sounding boards to whom you can tell, you can talk to. Also same about the G projector, and that you listen to what you say. not to what the other tells you. It's not about that. That's why it's called sounding board. It's about listening to what you're saying, how you're saying it, how your voice sounds, and also watching your body, how your body responds. Is there nervousness in the body, or how do you feel in the body? Or just you feel at ease and words flow out, and energy-wise, you feel good. This is what you should be watching. Actually, no matter the type, we watch our body. It's the wisdom of our body. So relationships, it's about entering correctly. The problem of most relationships is that people didn't enter correctly and in a healthy way, and they don't behave like themselves. That's it. That's what makes relationships work or not. People come to me and they say, well, look at those charts. Are we good for each other? Is this relationship going to work? Well, human design is not here to tell you whether a relationship will work. It can tell you how energetically you interfere with each other and how you connect with each other, where the challenge is there, where you resonate, where you're in harmony, or where you have difficulties and differences, and where you're disharmonic. But in order for the relationship to work, it's about how you enter that relationship. Did you enter in it correctly? If we entered correctly in the relationship, no matter how difficult it is, no matter how challenging it is, it can work. And it doesn't mean that we have to be all our life with that person. It can be that we're objects flying in space. Sometimes we can fly next to each other for a very long time or a short time. But if it was correct, then it's also the correct lessons that we will take, the correct conditioning, which will make us wiser. It will make us learn about the other, how the other is. We're social beings. We're here to share our perspectives. Nobody can look through those eyes. Nobody can hear through those ears. Nobody can be us. Only we are us. Only we know what's actually happening inside of us. And it's great to share our perspective with the other, what we see, and hear what they see. And then truth, it's, something in the middle. You have your own truth, they have their own truth, but it's what is indeed in between. What is the facts are facts. We cannot alter them. We only have a different point of view. We can have a different reality, and that's okay. It's okay to be different. It's okay to have different perspectives. It's okay to not have the same opinion about things and perceive things totally different. That's why we can communicate. That's the abundance of communication, is to bring our own perspective. And if we entered into relationships correctly, then we will experience satisfaction if we're the generator, success if we are the projector, peace and freedom if we're a manifester, and surprise if we're reflectors. But imagine you have different profiles, let's say. So somebody with a 3, they're set up to find things that don't work. So it's obvious that they will find a lot of things in the relationship which don't work, or they will find a lot of relationships that don't work, and they can get very pessimistic about it. But it doesn't mean that the relationship was not correct. Even when things don't work out, even when we stumble upon mistakes or so perceived mistakes, there is a very negative connotation when we talk about trial and error, when we talk about mistakes. Actually, mistake, it's a mistake. So you can take another take. And maybe then it will not be a mistake. We should not be afraid of mistakes, you know? So when you enter correctly into a relationship, you get exactly what you need at that moment. So it's the correct thing which is happening to you. The best partnerships are the ones we enter into correctly as ourselves, as who we are, when we drop the masks and we're authentic. And the best way to maintain or to develop our relationships, it's for it to flourish, is to respect our own nature and hence the nature of the other. We don't want anything else. We want our authenticity to shine through, because that's the truth. And we want truth in our relationships, right? Is that what you want? You don't want the masks, because the masks eventually will drop. And then you will see the other for who they are. You cannot keep up a mask for a very long time. You can pretend for some time, and then at some point it will shine through. You will get into difficult situations, and the masks sooner or later will drop. The only thing required to have a correct relationship is to enter correctly, to give respect, and to let the others to also respect you and not treat you incorrectly. Respect the nature of others. It doesn't matter if others in your life know anything about human design, or your type. No need to teach them anything. If you know your design, you can stop being a negative conditioning force. That's it. Especially when it comes to children, actually, because when I hear we have relationships with our children as well, with our parents, I don't want to condition my children. Well, it doesn't matter whether you want or not. You are conditioning them just because they have openness, and your definition enters their openness like an open window, and you condition them. And the other way around, they condition you as much. So it's not about not conditioning your children. It's about not being a negative conditioning force. And what does it mean to be a negative conditioning force? It means trying to change them, trying to manipulate them. Like, let's say you have a defined ego, your child has an undefined ego. If you try to make them prove to you, you're conditioning them negatively. Or if you have, let's say, defined emotional center, your child has an undefined emotional center, and it's the same in love relationships or business relationships or any kind of relationship. And you pressure them with your emotions. I will feel bad and angry and pissed if you don't do that. This is conditioning them negatively, not allowing them to be who they are, but trying to make them feel guilty. You know, the blame, shame, guilt game. That's negative conditioning. Or the other way around, by the way. Your child can as well try to condition you with their emotionality, and you know, those children tantrums, and like, I will feel bad, I'll make a tantrum, it's not conscious when we're small, it's unconscious. But very fast, those emotional people, when they're children, very fast they learn how to manipulate with their emotions. So it's about letting the other who they are, and accepting them as they are, not trying to change them, not trying to condition them negatively. Respect their nature. And as long as you respect yourself and your nature, only then you're ready to respect the other person's nature. Otherwise, it's really torture. If you simply treat people around you according to their nature, respect their essence, everything will be exactly as it should be. And when you enter into relationships correctly, you will find that they're rewarding for you, whether they're difficult or easy, whether it turned out that this is the love of your life or not. The problems you faced in your past relationships in which you entered incorrectly begin to disappear when you enter correctly. This is something very special. And another thing to add here, it's a quote from Ra Uru. He says, you never know your partner. You don't. You know the thing that the two of you become. And again, I point in the middle chart here. This is when you're with somebody, this is what you know. Only when you're by yourself, in your own aura, you are with no influence, with no conditioning, unless there is an animal or something else, or planets that condition you. But when you're by yourself, this is the only time you're really who you are. When you meet the other, you become something else. You become a third thing. And if we look at the charts here, this specific example, so on the left-hand side, we have somebody who is sacral generator with defined spleen, so they can be very spontaneous and fast in taking decisions when they respond with their sacral. They have a defined ego, so they know their worth, but they might be avoiding truth and confrontation. They're open emotional, open solar plexus, or actually undefined solar plexus, and they can be avoiding truth and confrontation. They have undefined root center, so they can be prone to act upon the pressure from the adrenalized root center of somebody else, and they can be too much in a hurry to get free from the pressure, and act prematurely. They also have undefined throat center, so they might try to attract attention and to speak too much, and not knowing what they're gonna say. They have also undefined head and ajna, actually completely open head center. So they might feel like they need to be certain, like they're not intelligent enough. They might try to overcompensate by trying to be certain about things, having strict opinions, like opinions that they are fixed in, and actually they're here to be open to different kinds, different points of view, different kinds of perspectives, different opinions. They have undefined, completely open head center. So in that design particularly, because the only center which is completely open, it can become the point of not knowing what is inspiring, not knowing what to think about, feel completely inadequate, move from one inspiration to the other, not knowing what is really inspiring to them, but take other people's inspirations. And then on the right-hand side, the chart is completely different. First of all, this is a projector. They are here to be invited, not initiate. So on the left-hand side, we have a generator who is here, again, not to initiate, but to respond to life with aha or sounds or energy, which depletes, or on the opposite, rises. And on the right-hand side, we have a projector who is here to be invited into the relationship. They're emotional projector, so there is no truth in the now. They need to reach their clarity. They, after the official invitation from the generator, to whom they return back the question, like the generator says, would you like to be in a relationship with me? And the projector should return the question like, And do you want to be in a relationship with me? So they can hear the sacral sound like, yeah, I want. I have energy for that relationship. Or, no, I don't. But the projector needs to give themselves time to assess through the different parts of their emotional wave what is correct for them, whether this person is correct for them, and not only give themselves time to see how they react to the different places of their emotional wave. It's also about giving the other person time to see whether they can stand their emotionality, because you can meet in the high end of your emotional wave and then everything is roses and flowers. And then when you meet when the person is in the down part of their emotional wave, then it can become really tricky. And the other person just cannot take the downside of the wave. So this projector needs time to assess, to evaluate, time to feel and to get to their clarity, to their emotional clarity. And then together they form a connection which is called 7-2 work to do. They have to open two undefined centers when they're together. So this relationship, usually when there is work to do, it can be karmic relationship. Although here we have two right profiles, they're not karmic. We have a 2-4 and a 4-6 profile, which actually shows us that they both have the fourth line in their profile, so they can resonate with each other. And the 2 and the 6 are in dissonance, so they have resonance and dissonance in this relationship, in this connection. But when we're talking about work to do, those two centers that stay undefined in the relationship, it means that those are two windows or two doors through which they can either escape the relationship with thoughts that don't matter, with being convinced about things, trying to convince the other of their own perspective, and they can basically run out of those doors and not meet each other, not resonate, not connect, but run in this relationship. But also the two windows are places they can have fun. They can have fun with similar inspirations. They can go watch movies together, get inspired, or read books together, or go to the theater, whatever outside inspirations. They can go to courses together, workshops, whatever, and get inspired together. They can have fun with different perspectives of how things change, the points of view change, and not trying to be certain, not overcompensating with the other. So as you see, it can be both ways. This relationship can be hard, but if you do the work, they can be very rewarding. That's why we have work to do. If you do the work, you can get a lot of great experience. In this case, the projector will feel successful in the relationship, that it's a successful relationship. The generator will feel satisfied in this relationship, enjoy it, spend their energy well, and it can work. But this doesn't mean it will always be easy. It can be difficult. Human design doesn't give the promise of lived happily ever after, but it gives you the promise it will be more clear and it will be the correct relationship for you, no matter how difficult or challenging or easy and nice and great it is. It's the correct one. You get what's correct for you. You get your life. You live your life, not somebody else's, not somebody else's expectations. So, yeah, it's about getting correctly into the relationship. And understand that when you're in a relationship, you always influence the other. And You always bring your impact to the other, your energy to the other. And together you become something different. For instance, those two people, when they're alone, it might be difficult to talk, to start conversations, to start doing things, acting upon them. But together, they have the defined throat center. So when they're together, they can express easier and they can talk with each other. But let's say if we had a relationship where the throat stayed open, this means that those people might not be able to really communicate well to each other and tell each other things. So then it will be advisable to meet in places where they can get connected by outside auras, which are neutral, like in a cafe or in a restaurant. Those people in the cafes and in restaurants, they will be talking to each other all the time. They will be saying so many things that they are not able to when they're alone in each other's company. But here in this relationship that we see on the example above, those people connect the throat, so they will be able to lead conversations and express, one of them, their truth, who they are, their G center, and have good conversations. On the other hand, so this is the center that they together define. And about the other centers, we see that in the partner on the left, he has the defined G center, the defined ego, the defined sacral, and the defined splenic system, the spleen. So, and the other person brings the root and the emotional system. As you see, those people attract each other with their differences, like the undefined G center will be can be totally in love with the defined G center because they give them direction, they give them the feeling of love, of identity, and the defined G center will be thinking, oh, this person is exactly like me because they reflect them. And then we have the generator on the left-hand side with a defined ego, and the projector on the other side, undefined ego. So in the relationship, one can be pushing the other, willfully force them, and the projector might feel that they have the willpower to do everything. And then when they separate, like one goes to work, the other goes to work, they're not together anymore. He doesn't have the power anymore, the willpower anymore. So they should understand that and be careful when they give promises to the generator with the defined ego. But also we have projector with undefined sacral, so they're prone to not knowing when enough is enough, trying to control the other, or not knowing when to stop, whether it's about intimacy or fights or anything. It can be anything. They can get into power struggles and not knowing when to stop, not knowing when enough is enough. So in this case, they should be both vigilant as to that the projector also needs more time to rest before they're really tired, and the generator can go on until they depleted their energy, their battery, and they can stay much longer. But it's the projector who's gonna want to stay till the last person in the party, because they're exaggerating, overcompensating, thinking that this is their energy, but actually they're amplifying the energy from outside. As well as the projector, on the other hand, can bring their emotionality and pressure the generator, who is with undefined emotional system, with their moods. If you do that, I'm going to be very angry, or you did that, you make me very angry. And have the generator avoiding truth and confrontation because they're afraid how their partner is going to react. Or that projector can adrenalize The generator with their undefined root center put them under pressure to act fast and be like, okay, let's go out. Now, let's go out. And the other can be like, and that's unhealthy. So they need to be aware that they put their partner under pressure. Also, the generator has defined spleen center, so the projector with them will feel really great as to the safety of their body and feeling healthy around the generator when the generator is healthy, of course. And this can be false feeling, but they feel very safe. And for instance, this is the classical, I'm not saying that this is this relationship, but it's the classical victim and oppressor relationship where the victim stays with the abuser just because they feel safe with them and they don't, dare to leave them. Because on a very primal way in their body, it's about survival. On a survival level, they feel safe with that person. It doesn't mean that this person is healthy for them. So the undefined spleen, they get caught into things which are not healthy for them, and they cannot get rid of them. They cannot let go. They have difficulty letting go. So this projector can get very clingy to the generator, who brings them this feeling of safety, that they're going to survive. And excuse me. I'm an undefined throat, so maybe it's too much talking. So yeah, we have different challenges in relationships, and the relationship can work or not work, but if we enter it correctly, we know it's the correct relationship for us. And we have something to learn, something to take from that relationship, and become wise about it. And of course, it can last short time or it can last a very long time, but we are two objects flying in space next to each other. Everybody has our own purpose, our own individuality. We're different from the other, and we should understand that when we're in a partnership with somebody, in a connection, we don't become them and they don't become us. We're just together, and together we form a third entity, the connectionship being, which we see in the middle. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe if you find this information interesting, and I'll be coming with more lives. And have a great evening. Bye for now.